I'm going to talk about what is a plot, what defines a plot. So I will not be talking about it in a very definition kind of way or a bookish way. I will be speaking about it in a very simple manner so that all of us can understand. So, plot, you can say, is a series of connected events that make up a narrative. So, it refers to what actually happens in a story and what the characters do. So, this series of events that happens in a story are not some random events or some unrelated events. Rather, there is a cause and effect relationship between them. So each event must make a difference to what happens next. So this cause and effect nature of the sequence of events is what makes up a plot, and it should be gripping enough so that readers keep turning the pages till the very end and they do not get bored by it. So in other words, the plot is a hook which keeps the readers interested and compels them to go on reading the story in order to quench their thirst to resolve the conflicts or whatever the characters are facing and answer the puzzles or questions in the story. Hence, the consequences of every event that happens in a story should be structured in a way that keeps the readers engaged. The way the story unfolds, develops, and moves in time, in other words, the way the events are structured, is what makes up a good plot. It must have well developed characters that are engaging in several conflicts. The structure of the events must follow an order that creates a tension for the reader and takes them to various plateaus and peaks of the story. So the readers must be involved enough to be a part of the protagonist's journey. But one thing I must mention that one can easily fall in the trap of writing messy plot lines where the climax can come in too early or the major conflicts may be thrown in at the wrong end of the story or even confuse the readers by writing about the description or the background right at the end of the story. So in that case, what we can do is follow one of the famous traditional models of building plots by German novelist. His name is Gustav Freytag. Traditional plot structure is divided into five elements, and they are placed in an order where the character must have goals or purposes, and they are put in a situation where they have to make decisions. In course of the storyline, the characters and their problem changes as they battle through the conflicts and they try to resolve whatever conflicts they are facing and draw the story to a conclusion. The elements of these models need to be placed in a particular order, and this model is shaped like a pyramid, and each of the elements have to be put in a proper place so that we have a well structured plot line. So these five elements are exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and in the end we have the resolution. Now let us examine the first element, the exposition, which comes at the beginning of the plot. We need to write the exposition right at the beginning of the story. So what is the exposition? Exposition introduces the characters and tells us where the story takes place, the place where the story takes place, and when it takes place. The characters are introduced here, and the description of the settings take place. Not all of the world building happens here, but readers get an idea about the characters, how they are like, what is their everyday lives like, their likes, dislikes, and their backstories. So we might also come to know um, the kind of conflict the character is facing. It gives us a background of the character's life and why the things are the way they are, or about the character's challenges. So this gives us the idea about what problems the character might be facing. In fact, the seeds of conflict are planted here, and the readers can kind of sense uh, where the character goals lay. So next we have the rising action. The rising action is where the character is in crisis. Here an event happens or a series of events happen which is triggered by an inciting incident which escalates the story into a major conflict between one or more characters or within that character. So here in rising action, it introduces the conflict the character faces or the central problem the character faces and sets the rest of the story in motion. The level of excitement increases as the story gets complicated, and a conflict or several may come up. The suspense builds up during the rising action. This is where the protagonist or the main character comes across roadblocks and gets a sense of challenges in front of them. The protagonist's journey takes shape as they learn about the challenges in front of them, and at the same time, they change and adapt in order to overcome the odds in the journey and achieve their goals better. This is also where the readers get familiar with the rest of the characters and the main antagonist. So, the main objective of the author is to build up the stakes to the story's climax. So, next we come to the climax. The climax signifies the final moments of the story where the conflict is at its peak. It is the most exciting part of the story where action, drama, and change occurs. Here, a major event happens where the main character confronts the conflict directly. There seems to be no viable solution to the conflict, and the characters go through intense emotions. The story has been building up to this moment. In other words, the turning point or the point of no return. The readers are on the edge as the suspense is highest here. A dramatic change happens, affecting one or more characters for better or worse as the main conflict is addressed here. The character choices reveals the outcome here, as there is one more face off between the main character and the antagonist or whatever the challenge is. So after that we come to the falling action. The falling action comes after the climax, when the main crisis is over and the story begins to slow down. The resolution to the story becomes clear here as the story winds down towards the end, while at the same time tying up the loose ends and move the story towards its conclusion. All the other subplots and mini conflicts are resolved here as we address all the other problems and gaps are filled. Then we come to the last element, which is the resolution or the denouement. The resolution is also called the denouement, where the story rests up towards the final conclusion. The tension is released as whatever pending issues that were not obtained during the climax is resolved here. The readers find answers to the remaining issues and the story ends here. The dust finally settles down as mysteries are explained and misunderstandings are cleared here. The readers can now relax as secrets are revealed and they finally find out how the characters' lives have ended up, whether it's been happy or sad. So, this is all about a plot. Hope you like this video, and I'll be coming up with more of videos like this about writing tips and guides. So, do like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be coming with another video next Saturday. So, till then, bye bye.